It was 1967, a few weeks before my 17th birthday. I was a high school senior. My mother, Pauline Fredericks Kranz, was dying of cancer, and on that particular evening, November 3rd, 1967, Mom went home to be with the Lord. It wasn't long after that, perhaps a year, I discovered that my mother loved the book of Habakkuk, at least the last 3 verses. Habakkuk chapter 3, verses 17 to 19, which basically say, everywhere I look, it seems that life is gone. There's nothing in the barn. There's nothing in the field. And then I began to realize that, Lord, strengthen my life. Make my life like the feet of a young deer, and I shall run in high places. Habakkuk was a great prophet of the Old Testament who I believe encouraged my mother by, even in the most difficult times of her life, she began to realize that embracing God in the time of her illness was the greatest relief that could ever be. As I went back and studied the book of Habakkuk, I began to discover wonderful passages like Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1, where the prophet, in seeing the heartache of Jerusalem, the sin of God's people, the turning away of the nation from God, Habakkuk began to say, God, I will stand my watch upon the rampart, and I will wait to see what you say to me. And when you have reproved me, then and only then will I speak. And God said to Habakkuk, write your burden, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so that he who runs with it can read it. And I believe today, Habakkuk speaks to me as I look at prisons, I look at our streets, I look at our communities, I look at the travail of nations, and God calls us to get on the wall of our leadership, the wall of our families, the wall of our callings, and say, God, I'm going to wait and see what you say unto me. And so I want to say in this very brief words, as Habakkuk said in Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 2, Lord, revive your work. Revive your work in the midst of years, and in your wrath, remember mercy. Habakkuk, the prophet who embraced God in the most difficult hour of Israel's history. May God call us to embrace him for such a time as this. On the wall of our leadership, may we sigh and cry for our families, for our nation, for our leaders, for our prisoners. Oh, that God would turn us back to see the cry of prophets like Habakkuk.